Hi, I'm Ed Kirsham with Equities.com. We're at the St. Regis Hotel in New York City for the 2015 Rodman Renshaw Conference, Day 2. ContraVir Pharmaceuticals is the name of the company, and they are on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol CTRV. And Mr. James Sapirstein is the CEO of ContraVir Pharmaceuticals. I welcome you this morning. And if you can, provide us with a brief overview of ContraVir, its history and its operations for our investment community, if you would.
Sure. Well, ContraVir was born about 18 months ago as a spin-off from CTRV Pharmaceuticals. And its main product, or its main asset at the time, was FV100. FV100 at that point had data through phase 2. It's a drug that's being looked at for the treatment of shingles and shingles-related pain, which is referred to as postherpetic neuralgia, or PHN. We were able to move the product move quickly through the FDA and hence the clinic, and we're in phase 3 development. We just initiated our phase 3 trial, which is entitled 007, about 3 weeks ago, and started seeing our first cadre of patients coming in. We're pretty excited about this trial. And then late last year in December, we licensed in a compound called CMX157 from Chimerix, which is a lipid conjugate of tenofovir, which is an antiviral, or as we call, a direct-acting antiviral for hepatitis B. And granted, I know tenofovir fairly well, having been involved with the launch of Gilead for tenofovir for HIV. So we're excited. We have 2 assets, one in phase 3, one moving into phase 2 at the end of this year.
There's a lot of national attention on the shingles virus and you know, the commercials we see with Terry Bradshaw and the whole thing. And I guess I'm a candidate. I'm one of those statistics. I mean, I'm over 50, and I had chickenpox as a kid. So the possibility of that virus in me, I mean, it is in me, evidently. It lays dormant, right?
Yes, it is.
And all right, despite that, what are the growth prospects in your target market, and how do you plan to move forward and capitalize?
Sure. So let's delineate what you just said. So Terry Bradshaw's on TV. He's actually advocating for the vaccine. There is one vaccine available on the market. The uptake hasn't been that great. Lots of folks do not like getting vaccines, quite frankly. There's another one that's coming. We're not a vaccine. We are a treatment. We are a one tablet once a day for 7 days treatment that helps lower the incidence of postherpetic neuralgia pain. In fact, our earlier studies showed versus the competitor that's on the market now, we were able to lower the pain by 37% in comparison. We hope to show the same kind of data in our larger phase 3 trial of 825 patients on a head-to-head study. So the market's growing. The market, while it seems to be small in terms of referencing other virology aspects, it's still a $4 billion market. It's growing. As the population gets older, it continues to grow. For instance, people who are lucky to reach the age of 85 years old have a 1 out of 2, a 50% chance of reactivating the herpes zoster shingles.
My dad
virus.
is 86 years old, and he just had
shingles.
Yeah, but it didn't last very long.
Well, that's great.
Luckily for him, it wasn't brutally itchy and painful, and it didn't last for a very long period of time. So I understand this can last up to a month or better.
2 years.
Oh,
we've seen cases of 2 years.
Oh, goodness.
We actually have to test our patients in this trial for up to 120 days. We have to follow them for 4 months, which is an incredibly long period of time to follow patients in a trial, especially when they've only taken the drug for a week. So the pain can last for a very, very long time.
Discuss your company's competitive edge, strategic advantage in this particular sector.
Well, the products that are out there right now are dosed anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day. The lowest dose is 1 gram, which is a lot especially for an elderly patient, 3 to 5 times a day. We're going to be 400 milligrams once a day. It's a much smaller tablet. It's an easier therapy for people, even though if it's for 7 days, it's a lot easier for people to remember. Our side effect profile is fairly benign. So it's a fairly easy regimen for folks to follow. And if we can reduce the pain threshold, as I mentioned, and the FDA is very happy about that. The FDA actually let us go straight from proof of concept, which is phase 2A, right into phase 3. So if we can prove that in our clinical trial, this is going to have broad efficacy versus the other products in the market. We've had discussions with managed care already. They're very adamant that this is something they can put on their formulary. It's not going to be a very high cost medication, but it's going to be able to replace 1 or 2 products already on their formulary.
What are some highlights, significant milestones that ContraVir would like to share with the investment community? And also, what do you project as we move into 2016?
Well, in terms of highlights, really FV100, we launched the trial. The trial is going to take 18 months to 2 years to accrue. We're not going to have interim analysis, so we're not going to have a lot of highlights or milestones that we can talk to about FV100 for now. However, for CMX157, we have a whole host of milestones that are coming. We have phase 2 enabling phase 1B trial that we're going to launch in November. We have a phase 2 trial we're going to launch in December or mid-December. We're going to have data that comes out in March, data that comes out in June, data perhaps that comes out in September. So we have a series of milestones just from our assets that we have now. In essence, also hepatitis B, which is a huge market that's burgeoning. There's a lot of companies there. It's going to be a combination therapy market similar to what we're seeing with hepatitis C and we saw in HIV. Hence, our job and our goal is to bring in other assets that we can marry with CMX157. CMX157, our goal is to make it the backbone therapy that you can attach other therapeutics to. Similar, we did that with tenofovir and HIV. We plan to do that with CMX157 and hepatitis B. So stay tuned for a whole host of milestones and announcements that we'll have throughout the rest of 2015 into 2016 and beyond.
ContraVir Pharmaceuticals is the company. Mr. James Sapirstein is the CEO. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, my pleasure.
I'm Ed Kirshen with Equities.com. ContraVir Pharmaceuticals on the NASDAQ, CTRV. Check them out, and we'll check you out soon. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.